Hi, my name is Pat O'Connor. This is video number 5, and this is going to cover some general tips for you. Some of the material you may have heard already in, bits and pieces of it in other videos here, but it's just for emphasis, things that you really need to pay attention to. So one of them that I spoke about in one of the other videos was make sure that you look at the guidelines of how you receive your payment. Now these are going to be announced in, like Mindrift has a Discord channel, Outlier uses Discourse, and they will have announcement channels within a project. Make sure that you read those if you have access to them, because it may be they'll pin it to the page, and it may say things like, well, if you're an editor and the writer quits during their initial onboarding task, you don't get paid even if they have 10 tries to get it right, and you have spent 3 hours editing each one of their tries and spending an hour mentoring them in a chat. You don't get paid. And honestly, if I had realized that before I had started a particular project with a particular company, I would not have worked on that project. And the same thing happens to writers. If you're paid by task, they'll pay you based on the number of expected hours, expected time that they think a normal person should take, or whatever their budget could afford. So if you're slow or if they underestimate the time, you can end up with uncompensated hours of work. It's part of the deal. It's part of the job. They pay decent pay, but you may be working many more hours than what's actually reflected in your pay. Again, I just mentioned that the companies use these channels. Be polite, because we got a warning on one of them that if people were, say you're on a project and you're on a channel and you get the news that another company is recruiting and paying almost twice as much as this company is paying, and you post that information, your company doesn't really like that very much. And so, there was a warning just, I think, last week on one of the channels. Do not post anything unrelated, to this company. Do not spam. Do not post referral links to other companies, or you will be kicked off the project and, potentially kicked out of the, company. You will no longer be able to work for us. Because there was a lot of stuff going on before they made that announcement. So be careful. Be polite. There are rules. If you get kicked off the channel, then you have no ability to contact anybody on the project. All your communications, Zoom calls, discussions going back and forth about how do I fix this, all that kind of stuff is done on, one of these channels. It's not done on an interface. Everybody is remote freelancers. Nobody's working side by side unless you happen to be a couple or you're meeting in Starbucks and working on tasks together, something like that. Be careful. You just follow the rules. And speaking of Starbucks, a lot of people tend to go to that because they have fast Wi-Fi. But you may not have a password for that Wi-Fi if you just go there and connect. So, and again, you're a freelancer. You can work anywhere you can get an internet connection. It could be at the beach if there's internet, Wi-Fi, unlocked Wi-Fi available in the area. You can just surf on that. But what you want to get, I think, is a VPN. VPN. And that will encrypt your data once you are on an existing internet connection, so that nobody can see your IP address, nobody can hack into your computer. It also provides virus protection, uh, all of that type of stuff. And because we're all freelancers and we can work anywhere we want to work, it's very important. Also know that there are some restrictions at times to what countries you can work in. There are some countries that are banned. I don't know if it's because there's government contracts and they want to make sure that you don't have any confidential information on your computer that could be hacked. So I know that Outlier AI does not allow VPNs, and they also have ineligible countries on their list. So if you're going on a cruise and it's going to one of these countries, you'll get in a lot of trouble if you connect from one of these countries. Again, if you have an VPN, you can redirect and it'll make you appear like you're in another country. But Outlier AI does not allow VPN, so you can't do that. So they'll know. I guess it's from the IP address what country you are in when you are connecting. So that's just a heads up for you. So be very careful with your spelling and grammar. That's another tip. That can get you in a lot of hot water. Even on assessment tests, you want that to be perfect. You are an AI trainer. You want the model to understand grammar. And if it starts getting incorrect stuff, that's the stuff it'll repeat. That's what's going to go into the feed if the quality assurance people don't catch it. So I strongly suggest that you have something like Grammarly, that is a browser extension that has worked for me in the user interfaces on the various platforms. And so it will check the misspellings as you go along, because their editors may not. With Grammarly, you can click a button and it will refill with the suggestions. Don't do that, because some of these say you cannot cut and paste. Like a lot of us might be used to, once we write something, pasting it back in, from Word, because now it's all grammatically correct. They don't allow that. You can't cut and paste back and forth. So if you want a grammar checker, I would suggest that you get Grammarly, make it a browser extension, and do not paste anything in. Always look at their suggestions, and if you agree, manually input it. That would be best. And there's certain like AI words that Grammarly uses a lot, so you might want to avoid that, like ensure instead of make sure as a constant one. And instead of like great, it's always significant. And I mean, there's different stuff that would signal that you might be using an external thing. And there's nothing wrong with using Grammarly. It's not against the rules. But just keep it in mind. Don't paste. All right. So again, this was another short one. I have a website with the URL in the details that has more information, and it has job listings, it has tools, it just has different suggestions on how to get started, books that you can read to give you a foundation on AI. So I still have a few more of these left to do. So if you like it, please follow, please subscribe. I'm going to keep up with these as the industry evolves. It's still new. I started the beginning of 2024, and I think that's where these AI training jobs really first started, because it seemed like at the companies that I joined, we all started about the same time. And So you don't know what the future is going to hold, but it's a great career path. I'll go into some more frustrations and things in later videos, but I hope you join me. I hope you find these useful. So thank you.